Hey guys, so I am back and I hope you guys are doing really well, especially in this cold weather right now. It's snowing outside, so I had to just come and play in makeup, and I decided to go ahead and do a demonstration using the brand new contour cream kits from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And these are brand new on the market. They just debuted a few weeks ago. We seem to get so excited about contour products these days that it's just, these products, once they debut, they just take the market by storm and everybody orders them. So they're now sold out, but they're going to restock, and they're going to also be available in Macy's stores that have the impulse section. So definitely stay tuned, check those out, stalk the Anastasia website if you are interested in trying these out. This is not going to be a review of any sort. This is just going to be a demonstration of me applying these products, showing you what shades I would use where, how I would apply them, what I would use to apply them. And coincidentally, I'm just using my Sedona lace synthetic collection that I was sent to apply these, and they work really well because they are synthetic brushes. So those are the brushes that I'm going to be using, kind of like testing them out, showcasing them to you, as well as showcasing you the brand new cream contours. Enough of my babbling. If you want to see a demonstration of how I apply these products, how they perform, how they work on my skin, then definitely stay tuned. And this is the after effect, in case you're curious. This is the look we're trying to achieve. So I'll talk to you soon. So I'm going to start out with a freshly washed face, and I did fill in my eyebrows just because that is my first step in any makeup routine. That's the first thing I do. So I already filled in my eyebrows, but on the rest of my skin, everything is bare. There's nothing else on my skin right now. And what I normally do in any foundation routine involving contour and highlight products, or whether it be cream or powder products, I start out with my foundation first. But in this case, there are corrector shades in these palettes. So I am going to start out with the corrector shades, and for this I think I'm going to go in with the corrector shade from the medium palette, and this shade is Warm Coral. So it's that shade right there, which is a corally shade, and that is a color corrector which you use to cancel out dark circles, so like dark blue undertones on your face. Anywhere you have hyperpigmentation, you can use a corrector shade in an orange tone on darker skin to cancel those out. So I'm gonna grab one of my Sedona lace synthetic brushes. This is the 224, and I'm gonna apply that by my under eye area where I have a lot of darkness. I've been getting so much darkness these days from I guess lack of sleep and stress. I've been going back to I'm back in school, so I'm going to school and working full-time, so it's a little bit more strenuous, and it's showing on my in my under eye area. So I'm applying that corrector shade, and that, as you can see, you no longer see the dark area under my eye. It kind of canceled it out, and that is what these corrector shades will do. Now, I heard in another video someone mention that they've used these shades as a blush shade, which I can see it being a nice blush shade for lighter skin tones. For us, it's gonna be more of a corrector tone, a corrector shade for us. So I'm applying that under my eyes, and as you can see, that blanked out the under eye area. I'm also gonna I'm gonna try the other dark shade, or the other corrector shade in the dark palette, and this is the coral shade. That's that shade, and it's more of a burnt orange. I'm gonna try it out to see if it works. As you can see, I have darkness on my face right here, so I'm gonna apply it right around the sides of my mouth. And don't worry if it looks a little bit deeper than your skin. It's not gonna show up once you apply foundation. So I'm applying that in like dark areas around my mouth, and it works. It actually looks like it's working on my skin tone, even though it's for the deep palette. I was a little afraid that it would be a little bit too deep. And if you're lighter than me, it might be a little bit too deep to use as a corrector shade. So go for the Warm Coral shade, which I'm going to actually mix a little bit of, just to lighten that up a bit so it doesn't look too deep on my skin. So I'm just applying that, and I'm using a synthetic brush because this is gonna help with cream products to blend it out. And so far it's blending over my skin without much drag, but it's not super creamy where there's just, it's moving too much and sliding around my skin. So I like that even though it isn't a super creamy formula, it still blends and moves pretty well, but it's not super creamy where it's sliding all over my face, especially when you have darker skin, not darker skin, oily skin. Super creamy products can be a problem. And if you notice, when I use cream or stick form products for contouring and highlighting, I tend to use a drier formula. Like I use my Fashion Fair foundation stick, which is a stick foundation in a drier formula, so it definitely gives me more of a powder matte finish, so I use that. And then I won't use concealers, like creamy concealers for, like people use those LA Girl concealers. I wouldn't do that because I have oily skin, so I'm just afraid the product's gonna slide around and cause too much slip on my skin and just really make me look crazy like I do now. So now I look like a nice colored palette. As you can see, I canceled out the dark areas. Just apply this product over it, you know, do as you must. Now I'm going to apply my foundation, which I can speed up. This is the Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation in the shade 330. I'm just going to apply that all over my skin and just blend it in over the areas that we color corrected with the coral shade. I'm applying this foundation with my Zoeva 104 buffer brush, which is just a flat top kabuki brush. And as you can see, as I'm going over the areas that we corrected, you'll see that the foundation does cover up that orangey coral shade, so you're not going to see it peeking through your foundation if you blend your foundation on well. And you might want to go over those areas with tapping motion so you don't move that product around. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish up with applying the actual foundation shade. So now that the foundation is done, I'm going to go in and just apply a little bit more of the corrector over this dark pimple that I have right here. It's just a really ugly situation, and just to lighten that up and color correct it a little bit more. And because I have the foundation on already, once I apply it, I can just blend it right in with the foundation. So now you'll see we have a nice even canvas, so everything is kind of one color, even though you can still see my skin peeking through and where I would have darker dimensions on my face. And that's the thing with darker skin. You, on the perimeter of your face, you will have a darker outline, a more bronzy effect, and then towards the center of your face you will be a lighter color. So we're gonna go ahead and mimic that now, and I'm grabbing the medium palette, which I think goes best with my complexion. I think if you're my complexion, a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, this would be your go-to. I can use a couple of shades, and I will use a couple more shades from the dark deep palette, but I think this would be my go-to. I'm going to grab the dark color here, the darkest color, which is chocolate, which is just a creamy orangey brown. That's how I would put it. It's not really a gray brown, it's not a pink brown, it's definitely an orangey brown. And I'm gonna grab that on a fluffier Sedona lace brush. This is the 217, and I'm just kind of stippling the brush into the product to pick it up. And then I'm going to grab the product, not too much, and I'm going to add some dimension to my forehead area. Because my forehead, the shape of it, I like to minimize it a little bit. So I'm adding the shade right to my forehead area above my, like right by my temple. So above my eyebrow, but right by my temple. So I'm applying that color, just stippling it on for now, not getting too crazy just yet. Just like that. And then I'm also going to grab this middle shade here, which is cinnamon, which is like a lighter caramelly brown. Pick that up also on the brush and then pounce that in my, above my, you know, the top of my forehead, just at the top. And then just blend it in with this brush. And again, these synthetic brushes are best for cream products and liquid products. So I'm just creating dimension on my face. This is not really a true contour product, but for deeper skin, chocolate skin, we're gonna get away with this because our faces naturally have dimension in different ranges of color. So for darker skin, we can get away with using bronzy tones over gray toned shades. Now I'm going to leave that for the time being. I'm not going to completely blend it out right now because I want you to see where I placed it. I'm going to go to the deep palette. This is the shade Espresso. I'm going to grab this middle shade here, which is darker than the chocolate shade that we have in the medium palette. And I'm going to grab that on a more angled brush. This one is the 618 from Sedona Lace. And I'm going to use this to carve out where I would put my contour. So right there, and a little bit, you just need a very little of this product. They really are pigmented, so they go a long way. Pick up very little, and I'm kind of creating dimension right now. This is where I would contour. Just placing that product, not really blending it just yet. So I'm placing it so you see where I would place it. Then, let's see, I need to bring this up a little bit, just a little bit, to bring everything together. And then you also want to bring a little bit down, since we're doing like a bronzy tone, to shape the face. So you're giving the shape of your face. I have a pretty strong jawline, so I don't have to do too much to give dimension there. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to do that. Now, for my nose, I'm going to grab another brush yet again. But these brushes are all from the same set. They're from the 7 set. I'm grabbing this one. This is the 847, which has a more dome shape, but it has a flatter shape to it. And I'm going to grab that same color that we grabbed before, that espresso shade. Is it espresso? Yes. And now I'm going to pick up very little and go along the sides of my nose. I don't want to do too much with this color. I'm just going right at the sides of my nose and bring it down in a straight line, and that's going to straighten my nose. I have a crooked nose because my brother broke my nose. Not a long story. He did a what was it back then? WWE move on me. Do you remember the suplex? Yeah, he suplexed or duplexed or whatever the hell, and smashed me into the bed and broke my nose. So I have a lump on my nose. But just apply that straight down, and dependent on your nose and what you're trying to do with it, this might be different for you. But for me, it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. I go around the tip, get some under my tip, and when you shade the tip of your nose, you're making it shorter, and then down the sides you're making it slimmer, which I would do normally because I do have a more round kind of shape to my nose. And blend as you go. This one, again, I'm leaving the contour product there so you can see where I actually place the product for now. I also, and someone was like, why do you do that to your nose? I also put a little bit of a shape right here at the tip, and what that does is give the illusion that my nose sinks in and then comes out at a tip. And you don't have to do that. I just do that for my particular nose shape. I also contour around the nostrils just to make them smaller. As you can see, this one looks smaller. Yeah, the art of figuring out your nose and your face. But it makes my nostril look smaller, so I would also bring the contour in a little bit more so my tip doesn't look so pointed. So there you go, little nose shaping just like that. And honestly, that would be it for my contouring. And because these are cream products, as you can see, it looks very natural, and because we have the foundation on already, it's kind of blending with the foundation. It's making everything just look natural, like we have natural dimension to our face, which is what we want. Now I'm gonna go in with the highlight product, and the highlight that I like to use is the nude shade, because you can see next to my skin the banana is just, no, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna grab the nude, and this one you can mix the two and get like a very light neutral shade. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna mix the two. Again, this is a Sedona 773 brush, and I'm gonna just dab that under my eyes. I'm not layering that on. I don't need to elongate my face because my face already comes in. so I don't need to elongate my face and make it look wider. I don't like that, so I'm not bringing it all the way out to the sides. Just placing that right beneath my eyes, and that's gonna brighten up the eyes. And what you want to do as well is go up against the nose where we have the contour, and you're gonna see that that actually defines the contour a little bit more and really slims out the nose, if you can see what's happening by doing that. Now my nose looks a lot more slim than it did when I started. And I don't always do this. This is obviously for when I want to do extra and go the extra mile and really shape my face, but I'm okay with my features, so I don't go overboard to mask them or create a different shape to my face. I'm just really doing this mainly for this tutorial. And I'm gonna put this in the center of my forehead as well. And I put a little bit more of the light shade, so the cream shade, this one here, I put a little bit extra in the center of my forehead because I'll bring attention right here to the middle of my forehead, and that's okay by me. Then I'm grabbing the nude shade and I'll bring that down the center of my nose, right there, and then right on the tip as well. So you don't have to do all the crazy striping and stuff down your face. You really don't have to do that. It doesn't really do that much. Then I'm going to go back into the deep palette and I'm going to grab the shade Carob, which is the deepest shade. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of that on the same brush. I didn't even change brushes. And I'm just going to put that right along my hairline because my hairline gets a little bit darker. So I'm just going exactly against my hairline, and all of this is going to blend together, so don't mind if it looks a little bit nuts right now. And I'm using very little of the product. I'm not going extra. Again, you don't need to go extra and make all this crazy stuff on your face. Grab a little bit of that too and deepen up this contour area. And that's the product applied to my face. So now that you see the placement, normally what I would do as I'm applying this is that I'm blending as I'm applying, so you wouldn't be seeing this naturally happen on my face on a regular basis. This is just me doing it to show you placement. So you see where we placed all the product? This is for my specific face shape. Now I'm gonna go in and blend this in. And for this I'm gonna grab another Sedona lace brush. This is the 480, and I'm really putting these to the test because they are synthetic, and I'm happy that I got these brushes to work with these synthetic brushes and products, and I can really tell you how they work. So I'm just using this one to buff out the contour product. It buffs it out really seamlessly. You can still see the dimension, but it's not a harsh line. I don't think you need harsh lines on your face at all. I think everything should just flow seamlessly and look like a natural contour, like a natural shadowing on your face. And in order for that to happen, it can't be a harsh line. Like, it shouldn't, well, I don't think. I mean, do what you want to do, but I don't think you should necessarily just leave the sharp line because it looks kind of obvious to me. And then I'm just using circular motions again to blend this out, and I'm blending it backwards into my hairline. I'm not blending it towards like the highlighted area. I'm just blending it backwards into my hairline and above my forehead. I just grabbed a clean brush. This is the 602. This is just an angled one. It's actually fluffier, yeah, so I'm just going to use that for my highlight. And because it is fluffier, it actually diffuses the highlight nicely, but it still leaves the product there, so I'm not blending it away. With a denser brush, it's going to definitely buff it in more. So this way I get to still have my under eyes light, but I'm still blending it in. And I'm going to go ahead and blend out my forehead into the contour product. And ooh, there you go. Now for the nose, I'm going to grab a different brush for this. I'm going to grab one of the smaller brushes. Let's see. I have this flat top one. I don't think the flat top one is that useful because you don't really use a flat top shape, but I'm gonna use it anyway. See if I can make some use out of it, and go ahead and go around the edges of the contour to blend out that on my nose area. And for the nose, the highlight area, I'm just gonna grab the fluffy brush again, the angled brush, and just go ahead and go over the highlight area so it doesn't really have a harsh line. And that is really looking good. Now for my nose, you see my nose is always really shiny, so I'm gonna need to powder that down. But this is what the contoured face would look like with just the cream products. Now I would go ahead and set everything with powder as I normally do, so let's grab some powder and do that. I'm gonna do all over powder, so I'm just gonna grab my Guerlain loose mineral powder and my Tarte, which brush is this? This is just the large kabuki brush, and just go over my entire face. This is a translucent, well, it's not really translucent, but it's not heavily pigmented, so it will not detract from the highlighted areas, and it won't add or subtract from the contoured areas either. So I'm just going over my skin just to set everything lightly with the powder. So you see I still look very natural. My skin still looks natural with the contour and highlight just popping through. And I'll get up close so you can see the product on my skin. You can still see I have a deeper contour, I have a chiseled jaw, I have a contoured forehead, and my nose is also, you know, shaped accordingly. And then you can go in now with contour powders from Anastasia as well and set these, and I can show you that as well. And with these powders you can just set and highlight the areas again that you did before. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit of, I forget what shade this is. This shade is Golden Peach, this shade right here. Just grabbing a little bit of that and running it under my eyes with a nice light fluffy brush. This is the Chikuhodo GSN number 5. Just to accentuate the highlight a little bit more. And then I'll grab Peaches and Cream, which is this one here, and tap that in my forehead area. Again, you don't need to do this because you see it already stands out from the cream, but you can add a little bit extra just to really accentuate where you did your highlight and contour. So I'm just applying that in the contoured and, the highlighted areas, just to accentuate it a bit. And we can keep this all Anastasia going with the shade Earth for the contour and just lightly go over that. Again, you're just accentuating where you already applied cream product, not to do the contour by itself, which you can totally just do everything with powder, which is my preference, but I feel like the cream does give a nice natural look to the skin and can add nice dimension. So I'm really applying very little of the powder. I'm not trying to add too much. And you will see everything kind of flows together now. I'm gonna go in again and blend out the highlight under my eyes with my foundation powder, just so that, you know, it does a little bit of more blending with my skin. And then I'll grab a smaller brush. This is the 773, that's the little angle one, and really lightly go over the contoured areas. Very lightly. And it's just gonna pick up and accentuate what we already did because the cream products are already there. So there you have it. I have contoured and highlighted with the cream products, and I added a little bit extra with the contour powders. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some eye makeup now and we'll wrap up the video. Alright guys, so I finished up my eye makeup. I applied just a touch of blush and some lip product, and I wanted you to see how this looks with everything pulled together. So when you have a complete look, now you can see how you see some dimension to my face, but you don't see where the contour lines start and stop. And I think this gives a really natural look, and I think it all pulls together really well. Now, if you choose to go with the contour powders, or if you choose to go with the cream palette, it's up to you and your preference and how you prefer to use products. I don't think you necessarily need the cream products if you're used to using powder, but I also think the cream products give a more natural effect to your skin. It's almost like mixing different shades of foundation. So, you know, depending on your preference, go for whichever one you like or you want to try out. Neither the cream products nor the powder products are true contour shades because they don't really have gray undertones to them to give you that shadow effect that a natural real contour would give you. It would give you an actual gray shadow on your skin, but because we're medium deep skin tones, we have those rich caramelly, you know, brown undertones. We can get away with using bronzing products to shape our face and give our face dimension, and get away with not using a gray true contour product. So, you know, if you want to try these out, I definitely give them a thumbs up. More so for oily skin, the cream products, because I think the drier skin, you will have a little bit of issue with these just because they cling to dry spots. So you might want to use them with a really rich moisturizer or really rich dewy foundation so that you can get some more blendability and they won't necessarily cling and accentuate dry spots on your skin. But for oily skin, combination skin, I think they're definitely a go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this demonstration, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!